A suburban father is furious tonight after his 5-year-old daughter was left aboard a daycare bus for hours in the freezing cold. The family's now demanding answers on how this could happen, and they're taking legal action. NBC5's Christian Farr talked to him.
Furious.
That's exactly how Wamui Mua felt when he found out that his 5-year-old daughter Dior was left on a frigid bus for more than 2 hours.
How can you lose a child? It's not a coach, it's not a jack, it's a whole human being.
At about 6 last Tuesday morning, Muya says he dropped off Dior at this kindercare in Arlington Heights. And a couple of hours later, the daycare facility bused Dior and some other children to Farr's View Elementary in nearby Mount Prospect so the 5-year-old could attend kindergarten. Nearly 10 hours later, Muya says he got a call from a kindercare director.
She calls and tells me that I did not drop off my daughter at school that day, that morning, and I just lost it.
Muya says that was not true and quickly figured out that his daughter had been left on the bus that transported her from Forest View back to kindercare for 2 to 3 hours in 14-degree weather. Dior was taken to the hospital and turned out to be okay. But Muya says her psychological scars still exist from that incident, which is part of the reason why he has filed a lawsuit against kindercare.
I don't know how she's doing, honestly. I don't know. I just know she's back at school and I hope she's okay.
In an emailed statement, kindercare said it does not comment on pending lawsuits. But on the day after Dior was discovered on the bus, the agency said it has strict safety protocols specific to bus safety that should have prevented this kind of situation. Unfortunately, those protocols were not followed.
After filing the lawsuit, we will be investigating the claim, trying to figure out what really happened and how this happened.
While there is a dollar amount listed in the lawsuit, Dior's father and attorney say this is more than just about money. It's about warning parents and also getting justice for a 5-year-old girl.
I just want everybody to know that that's what they did to me. So that's what I want. I want justice for Dior.
In Arlington Heights, Christian Farr, NBC5 News.
Thanks to Christian.
First of all, tell me, how is your daughter doing today? I think that's the first appropriate question. Just how is she doing now? She's back to school now?
Today, she's back at school. I don't know how she's doing, honestly. I don't know. I just know she's back at school and I hope she's okay.
Okay. Tell me what that day was like how did you even find out what happened?
I was at work that day. It was on the 14th. Caitlin, love of my life, she went to go pick up Dior about 5:45 p.m. that day. Upon going to pick her up, she called me and she was told that my daughter wasn't there. I immediately was lost for emotions and I was asking her, what do you mean she's not there? I dropped her off. She's like, babe, I'm telling you, they're telling me that she never came to school today. And I can hear her telling the director, you need to call the police. Call the police right now. We have a missing child. Somebody please call the police. And I could hear them refusing. I could hear her going door to door, looking and asking, where's Dior? Where's Dior? Where's Dior? As she goes down all the rooms. I tell her, I say, check the car, check outside, check the bus. And she's going outside to check the bus. And at this time, as she's going to go check the bus, I hear her. And I get a call from the director from the facility. And she calls me, and I pick up the phone, and I click over the line. And she's telling me, she calls and tells me that I did not drop off my daughter at school that day, that morning. And I just lost it. I just lost it there. I called the police myself. Unfortunately, I was in Elk Grove. So when they went to dispatch or whenever it went to the command center, it wasn't part of their jurisdiction. So I had to immediately hang up the phone. I had to call my supervisor at home. I had to call my charge therapist at work and tell them that my daughter is missing and I have to leave. And so they said, okay, you need to go, you go. And so I leave. And as I'm heading to go to my daughter at kindercare, I get a call from the fire department, okay, that they're en route, they're going there. At the same time, Caitlin's calling me. I call and I pick her up. I can hear her getting off the bus at this time. She's found her. And at this point, Dior's pretty much not moving. She's almost lifeless. And I can hear her yelling, "We need blankets. We need blankets. We need to warm her. We need to warm her." And I just was flying as fast as I could to get where I needed to be. And I mean, you can imagine somebody calling you and telling you that you didn't drop off your kid. I mean, I don't even know how I got there. I don't even know. By the time I get there, everything just comes in and out. I just was on autopilot at that time. Everything just comes in and out. By the time I get there, Caitlin and Dior are in the ambulance, and I'm just like, "You guys need to go." The police department, the fire department was calling me to give consent to Caitlin so she can take Dior to the emergency room at Southwest Community, where, man, Dr. Brown, she's amazing. She took care of Dior. She's the one that got me in touch with DCFS and set the claim. The initial police officer didn't seem to want to help. If you really want to know how I feel about the situation, he was more interested in getting the story from the director. And I just needed somebody to talk to me because my daughter was in the ambulance and I just didn't get that. We rushed to the hospital. I met them there. She was diagnosed as being hypothermic. We was there for hours, four hours at least minimum, them warming her. After warming her for 4 hours, then they took her temperature. She was hypothermic. So I wonder, what was her temperature initially? Because it was never taken. And it's just been really hard dealing with this. As your father, you put your kids in situations for success. You know, you try to set them up. And as a father, I feel like I may have let her down by putting her in that situation. And there's no way that I can't take any fault from what has happened. And it hurts me mentally and spiritually that she went through that. And I don't know where we go from here.
What happened after all of this? She gets to the hospital. What is her medical condition at that point? Because they've got to warm her up. Hypothermia is a really important thing at that juncture, because how long is she on that bus?
She's on that bus for at least 2 hours. There's no going around that part. Some say 3. I don't know. But I know for a fact it was at least 2 hours. It's only a 5-minute drive from Forest View to KinderCare. So it couldn't have been that long. So if she gets off of school at 3:45 and it takes 5 minutes, you could even spot them for the whole hour and say that she got there at 4. Well, from 4 to 6, she was on the bus for 14-degree weather, freezing by herself.
Okay, so break it down. So she gets there at 6 a.m. I'm sorry, what time did all of this happen that day? Was it in the afternoon?
Yes.
Okay.
So timeline is, let's just say 6:30 a.m. drop off. Let's go 8 a.m. transport from KinderCare to Forest View. Let's say she participated at Forest View Elementary from 8 to 3:45 p.m. And let's just say from 3:45 p.m. to 4 p.m. she was transported back to KinderCare, which she was left on the bus to, where she was not found until 6:05 p.m. that evening.
Oh, wow. So there's a record of her going to school at Forest View.
Yes.
There's a record of her getting on the bus.
Yes.
At Forest View.
Yes.
There is a record.
And yeah, there's a record of her also leaving in the morning at 8 a.m. to go to Forest View.
But somebody said to you, she didn't get on the bus. She didn't get on the bus to go back to KinderCare.
The director of the facility that should have known everything called and told me that I didn't drop my daughter off that day.
But they told you didn't drop your daughter off that day, but then there's a record of her being in school.
Exactly.
How did that make you feel when you heard that?
Furious. You know, it's like, how can you lose a child? It's not a coach. It's a whole human being. How could you not account for a child, a 5-year-old child at that? How? It baffles me. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Because common sense says if, for example, 5 kids get on the bus, we count 5 kids getting off the bus. So I question if there's any policies that they have for picking kids up. Because how? How do you lose a whole human for hours and then call me and tell me that I didn't drop her off?
What have you... Talk about the legal part of all this and how you guys got involved and what you think needs to happen here.
So, what happens at Dior is every parent's worst nightmare. And I think that especially because he was told that his daughter wasn't there, immediately the first thing he's going to think is, hey, my daughter's been missing, or she was kidnapped. And when somebody is hurt at a daycare facility such as KinderCare, there needs to be somebody that's held accountable and held responsible, especially when there's gross negligence at play. And so what we've done is, last week we filed a complaint on behalf of Mr. Muia and his daughter, and the investigation is still ongoing, and we are going to do whatever we can to make sure that this doesn't happen to somebody else's kid. This doesn't happen to your kid, to my 2-year-old daughter. And this is of grave interest to me personally at being a father, and I think that what happened here just is not okay, and people should be aware of it.
Mm-hmm. And of course, your investigation is still probably in its beginning stages. Have either one of you figured out what the process is is there a process about getting the kids on the bus and getting the kids off the bus? Have you even discovered that?
I think I can answer that.
Go
So
ahead, Jay.
I think we won't know 100% sure until and if we get farther into this case. So when the discovery process has, we'll ask for all their policies and procedure manuals, and we will read through those to make sure that they have those, number one, and number two, to see where, what went wrong here and how this could happen to a 5-year-old girl.
How was Dior after all of this? When her body got warmed back up, how was she mentally? 5 years old is kind of tough to figure out sometimes.
Yeah, randomly, she'll just say it. I was on the bus by myself. I was cold. I was scared. It just comes out every now and then. She's really clingy. Dior has her own room. I loved being with her, but I know her. She loves to go in there, watch Peppa Pig, play Super Mario, play with her toys, come back up, check on Daddy, and then go back doing her thing. No problem. But nowadays, she just wants to be right next to me, just right in my hip pocket. And that's fine too, but I just know that's not her. I just comfort her. That's it. That's all I can do. There's been a lot more McDonald's trips, but I can tell that something's bothering her. We have therapy set up for her that she has to attend once a week, every week for I don't know how long. Same with me, because I don't want to leave her. I don't. Like I told you, I feel like I have something to do with this, and I don't know what to do. I don't.
You feel like your hands are kind of tied.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
What do you want from this? For you to come to a law office and to point a finger is a big thing to do, especially as a parent. But you feel you gotta protect her.
I feel like parents need to know that these are the situations that our kids are in. And I feel like we all got to take care of each other because they're not taking care of us. And if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. And I just want this to be a aha moment. Ask your kids how was their day. Take that extra moment to sit down with them and quiz them. What happened today? How was your teacher? Did you feel safe today? Certain things, that we can do as parents that we just take for granted, that it's simple, that, get the awareness out there. I also hope that the people responsible can be arrested. I hope that this can show some type of negligence on their part that they could be apprehended, because I feel like as a parent, if you did it to your kid, I feel like the police will come after you. You can't leave a kid in 14-degree weather and nobody. And are they working for somebody else? Are they harming other people's kids? Do we know? That's not fair. That's my kid. I almost lost my kid, and I just want everybody to know that that's what they did to me. So that's what I want. I want justice for Dior.
Because you're still dealing with this.
Yeah. Every day. Every single day I'm still dealing with it.
Have you ever, in the course of this happening, because we'll be like a week from this happening, received an apology or anything? What was anything ever said to you? No,
not from the people that have done this. I've had the owner of KinderCare apologize, Dan or something of that. I don't know. Other than that, he wasn't there. And there's not much he can really say to me, and there's not really much I can say to him because he wasn't there. I wasn't there. He didn't do it. So who did it? who's going to be in charge? Is KinderCare going to be held accountable? Are they going to be held accountable? Is everybody going to, I don't know. I'm just a parent in distress. And that's why I have him here to help me, guide me through this process. Because I just got a lot going on, and I can't do it by myself.
Well, you got questions. You got a lot of questions
Yeah.
and no answers.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of sounds like.
Yeah,
Okay. What's the next steps? I'm assuming this is standard in terms of discovery and things of all that nature. If you could just kind of speak to, you filed the lawsuit and the whole process.
Yeah, so we filed the lawsuit for Mr. Mbuya and for his daughter as well. We talk about, the emotional distress damages that have caused both individuals, as well as the damages to Dior's health. And after filing the lawsuit, we will be, investigating the claim, trying to figure out what really happened and how this happened. Myself and the other attorneys at Prenti and Norm, we want to make sure, again, this never happens again. So we got to get those policies and procedures manuals. We got to get the interviews or depositions, as the legal field calls them, of these people to see what really happened and how this could happen to somebody that parents pay and trust to take care of their kids on an everyday basis. And it's an essential thing that most parents need. And in order to do that, we have to really investigate this claim and see how we can help to get justice for Dior, for other people that this has happened to, and also to try to get some policies and procedures or new things in large daycare services such as KinderCare to be changed so this never happens again.